Imagine you're sitting on the sofa, finally relaxing after a long day at work. You suddenly feel a vibration in your pocket. You reach down and you find nothing. You just experienced a phantom phone vibration. That's the false perception that your phone is vibrating or ringing even when it's not. The scariest part of this is that our society has become so dependent on our phones that above 60% of the general population has experienced this, and even higher percentages in test groups with high digital preparedness and younger groups. The modern way of relaxing looks something like this. First, you sit down in your living room, turning on the TV. Then you reach for your phone to check what's happening on social media. Third, you stand up after hours have passed by and you feel even drowsier than before, and probably don't even remember half of what you consumed. I want to show you why you need to change the way you relax, and some practical tips on how to actually let your brain relax, but more on that later. When you're used to frequent notifications and trying to relax to content that demand a lot of your brain, complex processes are happening in your brain that alter your cognitive capacity. The reason why we experience phantom phone vibration is because our brains work like a prediction machine, always on alert for what's gonna happen next. The brain is lowering the threshold of what it perceives as important information. Because you're expecting notifications, your brain misinterprets natural stimuli. Muscle twitching or rubbing clothes can feel like a phone notification. This is technically a hallucination, where the brain's expectation overrides the actual sensory inputs. Notifications are also linked to the brain's reward system. The brain has learned that vibration potentially leads to social reward. Constant connectivity and exposure to high cognitive load are confirmed to increase levels of cortisol, which increase stress, and weakening the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. Popcorn brain has become the definition that focus is reduced due to rapid peaks in dopamine because of the brain is popping between alerts, tasks, and apps. Even when you sit still and swiping on your phone, the brain works in high speed to process the frequent switching between apps and content. Digital media is designed to hold your attention, which leads to decision fatigue and mental exhaustion that leaves you more tired than before your break. When you leave every waking second to the digital world, you don't let the brain get the time to process information, organize memory, and engage in creative problem solving. True recovery occurs when the brain is actually allowed to calm down and process all the information you have experienced throughout the day. Before we continue, I have to briefly explain what the default mode network is. The DMN is a large-scale network in the brain that is most known for being active while daydreaming and mind-wandering. It's like a screensaver for the brain. In this state, the brain is capable of doing things like creative thinking, self-reflection, processing complex information, and understanding different perspectives without a lot of effort. This is why you suddenly can have a aha moment out of the blue. The most sustainable way of breaking this unhealthy way of relaxation is to start small and gradually train the DMN. Just like training your body, you don't max out right away just to crash and burn. I have 3 tips on how you can start training your brain. First, practice micro-boredom. The next time you're standing in a line or waiting for your coffee or sitting on a bus, resist the temptation to check your phone for 60 seconds. While resisting, try to notice 3 things you see and 2 things you hear. Second, do the nothing sit. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Sit in a chair with no music, no phone, no TV, no books, and no distractions. The brain will likely scream for a stimuli. Acknowledge this feeling as a withdrawal symptom and just sit with it. Lastly, try to drive or walk without music. This helps the brain transition from active processing to internal reflection. Since digital scrolling is fake rest, you need to replace it with activities that actually let your brain recharge. Things as simple as taking a walk in nature helps reduce cortisol levels. You can also engage in activities that is not gamified. For example, skill development, physical activities, or creative work. The most important thing is that you do it because you enjoy it. In today's world, it's almost impossible to live under a rock and not be active in the digital world. You don't need to avoid it completely, but you have to be aware of how you interact with it. The internet is one of the greatest tools if you use it right. The best thing you can do is become aware and try to reflect on what you consume and how it makes you feel. You can ask yourself questions like, does this benefit me, or is this aligning with my goals and aspirations? If the content makes you feel worse, try to reduce it or cut it out completely. You can also increase friction, make it hard to interact with apps. You can remove apps that are distracting from the home screen and turn off notification for non-human connection. Batch checking is a better way to interact with social media. Instead of checking email and apps 50 times a day, set specific check-in times throughout the day. This can reduce the need to check your phone significantly. To conclude, you don't need to be a meditating monk to release the pressure from the digital world. You only need to interact with it in a smarter and more aware state. I have personally adopted and tried these exercises, and it has helped me a lot. If you like this type of content, hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.